I was 25 when my cousin held up a navy skirt, looked me dead in the face, and said, "Don't laugh this off unless you're sure you want to." That was the part that got me. Not the skirt. Not the teasing. Not even the fact that I was standing in my aunt's hallway in gym shorts and socks on a wet Thursday in Ohio, with rain smacking the windows hard enough to make the whole house feel smaller. It was the way she said it, like she already knew there was something in me that might say yes. I was staying at Aunt Denise's place for 2 weeks because my apartment wasn't ready yet. The old lease had ended. The new one had a water issue. And all my stuff was in a storage unit off Morse Road next to a vape shop and a busted laundromat sign that only lit up the letters LAN at night. My mom kept calling it a blessing in disguise, which is what she said anytime something inconvenient happened to somebody else. So there I was, sleeping in a guest room with a quilt that smelled like cedar and old dryer sheets, trying not to feel like a guy whose life had stalled out. My cousins were both there that week too. Ava was 29, divorced, sharp as a tack, one of those women who could throw her hair in a clip and still somehow look put together. Rachel was 27, softer around the edges, funny. The kind of person who made people confess things without meaning to. They had their own lives, their own apartments, their own schedules. But they still moved around that house like they belonged in the world in a way I never really had. By day 4 of nonstop rain, we were all getting weird. The power had flickered twice. The Wi-Fi kept dying. Aunt Denise was downstairs watching one of those courtroom shows too loud. We were upstairs in Ava's old room, half cleaning out her closet, half making fun of clothes she kept since 2016. Rachel held up a little black heel and laughed. "You used to wear these to Applebee's like you were headed to the Met Gala." Ava snorted. "And still looked better than every man in that building." I was sitting on the floor by the bed, going through an old box of DVDs, pretending not to listen. Then Rachel looked at me. Not in a random way, in a way that made my stomach tighten. "What?" I said. She tipped her head. "Honestly? No." Ava was already smiling. "Now I want to hear it." Rachel held up a cream cardigan and pointed it at me like evidence. "He'd wear this better than half the men I've dated." I laughed because that felt like the safe thing to do. "Absolutely not." Ava leaned back against the dresser. "We're bored. You're bored. Let us do a makeover." "On who?" Ava just looked at me. I shook my head fast. No chance. But I said it too fast. We all heard it. Rachel's face changed first. The joking eased up a little. "Okay," she said. "That wasn't disgust. That was panic. Shut up. I'm serious." She tossed the cardigan onto the bed. "We don't have to do anything." But I don't think that was a real no. The room went quiet in this annoying, honest way. Rain hit the siding outside. Somewhere downstairs, Aunt Denise yelled at the TV like the judge could hear her. I stood up like I was going to leave, but I didn't leave. That was answer enough. Ava crossed her arms. "Ground rules. No pictures. Nothing leaves this room. You can back out any time," Rachel added, gentler. "And nobody's making fun of you." I looked at the carpet. Beige, worn down near the closet. A tiny dark stain by the baseboard where somebody had probably spilled coffee 10 years ago. I don't know why I noticed that. Maybe because if I looked at either of them, I'd say yes. And I did say yes. Not confidently. Not like some brave movie moment. More like I was stepping onto a frozen pond and hoping it held. "Fine," I muttered. "But if this gets weird, I'm done." Ava smiled once, small and quick. Got it. Her closet still smelled like perfume and fabric softener. There were winter coats shoved to one side, old dresses hanging in a row, shoeboxes stacked crooked on the top shelf. Rachel started pulling things out like she'd been waiting her whole life for this exact rainy afternoon. "Not a dress first," she said. "Too much all at once." Ava nodded. Agreed. Skirt. Top. Cardigan. Maybe flats. "Leggings," Rachel added, glancing at my legs. "Unless he wants to shave right now, which I'm guessing he does not." My whole face went hot. Jesus. "Practical," she said, like that settled it. And weirdly, it did. That was the first moment it stopped feeling like a joke to me. Not because of the clothes, because they were treating it like something that could actually work, not a dare, not humiliation, just details. Ava handed me a soft charcoal skirt with a little weight to it, not too short, and a pale-fitted top. Rachel added black leggings and that same cream cardigan. "Bathroom's there," Ava said. "Take your time." I closed the door and locked it. For a second, I just stared at the pile in my hands. The top felt smooth, almost cool. The cardigan was soft, in a way men's clothes almost never are. The skirt had a hidden zipper on the side. I fumbled with twice before I figured it out. Getting into the leggings was more work than I expected. They clung everywhere, every inch. I almost quit right there. I kept thinking, this is ridiculous, but my hands didn't stop. Then the skirt went over them, then the top, then the cardigan, and something in my chest went still. I turned toward the mirror over the sink and actually forgot to breathe for a second. I didn't look like a woman. Not yet. Not even close. But I also didn't look like a joke. That was the part that shook me. The skirt changed the line of my body. The cardigan softened my shoulders. The leggings hid the hair on my legs and made my movement look cleaner somehow. I found myself tugging the hems straight, smoothing the sides, adjusting the sleeves without even thinking about it. Like I wanted it to sit right. I unlocked the door and stepped back into the bedroom. Rachel's eyebrows went up. "Okay?" Ava put a hand over her mouth. "Yeah, no, we were right." I laughed because I didn't know what else to do, but it came out thin. Rachel walked a slow circle around me, not touching. "You've got good proportions for this." "Broad shoulders, yeah, but the cardigan balances it, and you're standing different already." I was. I didn't realize it until she said it. My knees were closer together. My elbows had tucked in. I wasn't taking up as much space. That hit me harder than it should have. Ava pulled out the vanity stool. "Sit down." "What now?" "Now we stop pretending the face doesn't matter." The first thing she did was pin my hair back. Rachel stood in front of me with concealer and frowned at my jaw. "You shaved this morning?" "Yeah." "Good. Still gonna have to soften that." The makeup part should have felt ridiculous. Instead, it felt weirdly intimate. Ava's fingers were steady when she brushed foundation over my forehead and cheeks. Rachel dabbed color under my eyes and along my chin where the faint shadow sat. They talked the whole time, but quieter now. Less teasing, more focus. "Close. Look up. Don't blink. No, seriously, don't." Mascara made my eyes water. Lip gloss smelled like vanilla. A little blush changed my whole face more than I thought it would. Ava did something with my brows that I barely understood, but somehow made me look less tired and more open. When she finally turned the mirror toward me, I didn't say anything. I just stared. My face looked softer. My eyes looked bigger. My mouth looked noticeable. Not in a sexual way. Just there. Defined. Like part of me had been outlined for the first time. Rachel caught my expression in the mirror. "Yeah," she said quietly. "That's the moment." I swallowed. "I look weird." Ava shook her head. "No, you look like someone you recognize and don't want to admit it." That landed right in my ribs. Nobody talked for a few seconds. Then Rachel went to the closet and came back with a pair of simple black flats. "Try these." I slid them on. It was stupid how much that changed. My steps got smaller instantly, more careful. I looked down, took 2 slow laps across the bedroom rug, and felt my body adjust around them. Even without heels, my posture changed. My hips didn't suddenly swing, or any cartoon version of that. It was subtler. I just paid attention to myself in a way I usually didn't. To my hands, my shoulders, my weight. Ava smiled. "There it is." "What?" "You're not wearing it like a costume anymore." Before I could answer, Aunt Denise shouted from downstairs, "Ava! Somebody's at the front door." Every drop of blood in my body went cold. Rachel moved first. "Bathroom?" "Go." I grabbed at the cardigan, almost tripped in the flats, and scrambled for the bathroom just as Aunt Denise called again, louder this time. The next 90 seconds were pure panic. I yanked off the flats, smudged the gloss with the back of my hand, nearly tore the skirt zipper getting it down. The leggings stuck at my ankles while I tried to pull my shorts back on. I wiped at my face with a washcloth too hard and left my skin red. When I looked up, there was still a faint dark line of mascara under one eye. "Dylan?" Ava hissed through the door. "You good?" "Yeah," I said, voice cracking. "No." Rachel cracked the door open, stepped in, and swiped under my eye with micellar water, like this was an emergency room procedure. "Breathe." I was breathing. Too fast? Was it obvious? I asked. She looked at me for half a second, then softer than before said, "Only because you cared." That line stayed with me. The guy at the door was just dropping off a package. Dog food and paper towels. Nothing dramatic. Nothing even close. But my hands shook for 10 minutes after. We all drifted downstairs eventually, acting normal. Aunt Denise reheated leftover chili. The local news played in the background. Rainwater ran down the kitchen window over the little potted basil she kept forgetting to water, even though it sat right there in front of her face. I sat at the table in my t-shirt and gym shorts, and I have never felt clothes so wrong in my life. Not bad, just wrong. Heavy. Blunt. Like I'd gone backward. I kept thinking about the cardigan on my arms, the way the skirt moved when I turned. The accidental little pause I'd taken at the mirror before leaving the bathroom, when for one split second I hadn't seen a joke or a dare or something dirty. I'd seen relief. That scared me more than anything. Later that night, after Aunt Denise went to bed and Ava was folding laundry in the den, Rachel knocked once on the guest room door and stepped in. She had something in her hand. "Don't freak out," she said. "I'm already freaked out." "Fair." She sat on the edge of the dresser and held out a small tube. "Lip gloss." "Same vanilla one." I looked at it, then at her. "Why?" She shrugged. "Because you kept pressing your lips together even after Ava told you not to. Which means you liked how it felt." I laughed once, embarrassed. "You noticed too much." "That's my gift." I took it from her. She didn't make it dramatic, didn't ask me what it meant, didn't push some giant identity speech on me. She just said, "Whatever this is, you don't have to make it bigger tonight than it is." Then, on her way out, she stopped in the doorway. "For what it's worth," she said, not looking back, "you looked comfortable. More than I've seen you in a while." The room felt different after she left. Smaller, but in a good way. Safer. I sat on the bed for a long time with that lip gloss in my hand. The guest room lamp buzzed a little. Rain had finally slowed to a soft tap against the gutter. Somewhere in the house, pipes knocked when somebody turned on a faucet. Normal sounds. Normal night. And me sitting there like my whole life had shifted 3 inches to the left. Around midnight, I opened the front-facing camera on my phone. No makeup, no skirt, no cardigan, just me. Then I twisted the cap off the gloss and put on a little, careful and stupidly nervous, like somebody might burst through the door and catch me in the dark. My mouth changed first. Softer. Brighter. I stared at myself for a long minute. Then I whispered a name I'd never said out loud before. Not because anyone gave it to me, because somewhere along the line, I'd apparently been saving it. "Danny." I said it again, quieter, and the thing that really got me? I answered to it. "So tell me honestly, if you were sitting alone in that guest room, with the rain finally dying outside and a secret small enough to fit in your palm, would you put it away and pretend none of it mattered? Or would you try again the next night?"